Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Snow Day, your number one stop for reviews, rants, and ratings in the world of entertainment. I am your host, Hunter Verrill. Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Snow Day. I am your host, Hunter Verrill. I am alone again. It's just going to be me this time. Hopefully, that's acceptable. But today, I wanted to talk about the fact that I am a wrong person, and I have been wrong for a very long time. I was, for the longest just period, living under the assumption that video games were the ultimate medium. I really did have like this really strong opinion that there was no need for things such as movies, especially TV shows, books, etc., to exist when video games do because they were the ultimate interactive medium. Everything they do is what entertainment has been leading up to this point. Like, I understood that when you had Mad Men in comparison to Pong, it was obviously that they were in different universes, but now you have top grade actors wearing green screen suits and jumping around voice acting for video games because they've become more analogous to movie entertainment than some movies entirely. Like, in the 80s, they tried to make movies about video games, and now they're making video games that are trying to mimic movies. Well, not trying to, they're very much succeeding. They're getting awards for their cinematography. There is such a distinct difference between the video games of the older era and those of today, and I feel as though they've had the most dramatic change that was greatly influenced by other forms of entertainment and therefore kind of outclassed them. Now, mind you, I'm obviously here to say that I'm wrong, minus the reading thing. I still don't understand why we have books, but regardless, I thought for the longest time that movies and TV were just unnecessary things, only used for white noise to make you go to sleep. And then in the span of a couple months, I watched Pulp Fiction, all of BoJack Horseman, and all of Breaking Bad. So that was very much enough to change my opinion on the matter. And today we're going to be talking about Breaking Bad because I absolutely love it. And if you haven't seen it, now mind you, I don't know where I'd put it in terms of age rating. Like, me and Aaron have pretty much come to the agreement that if you're in high school, like, pretty much everything's good. I don't know. Use your own discretion, your professional discretion as a possibly 3-year-old child. But regardless, Breaking Bad is the greatest TV show I've ever watched. BoJack Horseman is still my favorite, but Breaking Bad is better, if that makes sense. Like, personal preference over quality, I guess. But yeah, this show is, it's stupid how good it is, and more importantly, it's stupid how well it's able to be good. Now, most shows, people will have a favorite season, and obviously with things like sitcoms, long-running cartoons, etc., it's going to be one of the first or earlier seasons, like how only the first 8 seasons of The Simpsons are considered to be like, good Simpsons, then everything past that is like, wow, I cannot believe this is still occurring. People are under, like, the very admittedly justified mindset that only the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob SquarePants are of, like, massive quality, and from there it was just, like, downhill. Other examples include, even, like, in BoJack, some seasons are better than others. Like, season 1 gets off to a bit of a slow start in order to introduce you to the characters before, playing with your emotions and having the really good stuff. And the beginning of season 6 is really draggy sometimes. Like, they really do have to set things up, and mind you, it's completely worth it because you end up getting View from halfway down and Nice While It Lasted as the last 2 episodes. But regardless, the setup is still there. You still have to go through it, and it's not always perfect. Breaking Bad just kind of slaps that in the face because I've never seen a show become so linearly better. The first season is definitely great. I was enjoying myself throughout the entirety of it, yet I couldn't help but question why the show had received so much praise after only having seen the first season. Second season was way better, and I was like, okay, this is a really good show, but I'm still not entirely sure that I understand why it's been getting all these accolades and been dubbed, like the greatest show of the 21st century. And then season 3 hits, and it's just incredible. It's some of the best TV I've ever seen. couldn't recommend it enough to anyone I talked to. Like, any conversation ended up being Breaking Bad if you talked to me when I was like binging through it. And then season 4 knocked season 3 on its feet. Oh my god, the jump in quality from season 3 to season 4 is incredible. And mind you, they're still all great. It's not like it started out bad and got good. It started out great and got pretty much perfect. Because you probably saw this coming. Season 5 comes around and it knocks season 4 on its feet. I didn't think it could get any better until season 5 came around. And it was the greatest TV I've ever witnessed. The idea, like, you couldn't have planned it better. The idea that a show could just become so much better, so infinitely better, without ever dipping in quality, in my opinion. Some people really don't like the Fly episode. I love it. IMDb rates it as the lowest episodes in the middle of season 3, so I don't really know how you're going to feel about that. But, yeah. As far as I see things, obviously, like, season finales and pilots are going to have a lot more momentum than seasons like episodes 3 and 4 of a season. But in terms of overall story, everything feels as though it was planned from the very start. Now, if you ask me, I feel as though calling something planned is the greatest compliment you can give to any form of entertainment. The idea that you could easily sell me on the idea that this entire show, seasons 1 through 5, was completely finished before they started filming, which I know isn't true, but you could definitely convince me. There are so many shows where it is so horribly obvious that they wrote one season, and then another, but they didn't want to make a show. They just wanted to make seasons, individual seasons that have completely different plots, character identities, and shifts. Like, it feels so inhuman to the point where Breaking Bad's characters feel more than human just because of how fleshed out they are. The idea that you see actual character flaws, and I don't mean like, oh, this person's really awkward, this one can't talk to girls, this one's really smart, so he's really bad at talking to people. That's nothing in the face of what Walter White and Jesse Pinkman and Skyler White and everyone else is forced to go through throughout Breaking Bad's duration, and it's brilliant. In my mind, one of the best things that a show can do is bring characters to their limits. My favorite shows at the moment are BoJack Horseman and obviously Breaking Bad, and those two shows have characters reaching their highest highs and lowest lows. BoJack goes through so much suffering in his life and causes so much suffering for others, and it's so hard to root for him, and yet you still find yourself doing it, or at least I found myself doing it. And the same thing goes for Walter and even almost every other character. These people, throughout their metamorphosis, I guess, throughout the show's duration, they change in such drastic ways, and they're often altered by one another. Wow, what a grand idea for a TV show. But the main thing is, by the end, they're all completely different people, especially Walter. God, the evolution of Walter White is one of the greatest television things ever. I don't want to talk too much about, how things get to changing, because obviously I still want whoever's listening to watch the show if you're of like an acceptable age. But God, it's so brilliant. Not to mention there are the other things, like obviously I think everyone and their mother can talk about the characters and the plot and the twists or whatever. But I feel like the more niche things like editing, cinematography, music just come across as so polished in my head. Like, certain transitions are morbidly hilarious. There's a particular one where two characters are using squeegees to move blood into a drain pipe, and it cuts to someone rubbing a french fry in a pile of ketchup at a diner. And that one still gets me to this day. But then there are all of these brilliant camera shots. Like, they really love this one where it gets a little gratuitous, but I like it. There's one shot that appears so often where a camera will be placed, like, underneath something, and it'll be uncovered by characters. Like, like they'll be digging or looking through a cabinet or something, and, like, the camera will be facing them and they pick it up and it's like, whoa, there it is. And then they'll finally show you what they're looking at, right? Like, fun stuff. There are also incredible uses of the landscape. Like, wow, I've never, like, you would think it would be so obvious to show someone disconnected from those around them by keeping a pillar from a building in shot. But I've never seen it done until now. And finally, the music. Oof. 2 words. Crawl space. If you ever do decide to watch the show, which please do, when you reach crawl space, you will probably know what I'm talking about when I mention music. Apart from that, I really don't want to mention much because part of what made it so brilliant for me, much unlike things like Berserk, was that I knew nothing. And I mean nothing. With Berserk, I knew nothing but Guts theme and that something bad was going to happen. Breaking Bad, somehow, made in 2008, never had anything spoiled for me. And I feel like that really is the best way to go, to be truly blind to the series. Alright, hopefully I've made you think a little bit. Maybe consider watching Breaking Bad. See you on the next snow day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next snow day.